Versatile Mage. Chapter 201 Spirit Grade Lightning. Chanjin. Not long after, Zhao Mannion came out of the appraisal hall. Normally, once the auction list had been made, it could not be altered. However, the bidding for a warrior-level soul essence was even more ferocious than a spirit seed. Did any of those who were here to participate not wish to see this kind of thing appear? The organizing party instantly put the warrior-level soul essence onto the auction list. I let the old master appraise it. He said that this kind of parasitic soul essence is very special, and the more special the soul essence is, the more successful the manufacturing of a nebula tool will be, and the higher the quality it will be. Thus, the scale skin phantom mother's soul essence that you are auctioning will be worth 10 to 20 million. If it generates a fight between large forces, then there wouldn't be a problem for it to reach even 25 million, Zhao Mannion said, an admiring look on his face. This guy's saliva nearly started dripping. He really wished that he personally had killed the mother beast. However, Zhao Mannion also knew that he was a person without a soul container. Even if he had personally killed the mother beast, he would still have no way to retrieve its soul essence. Also, the appraisal master said the warrior-level soul essence has been stored very delicately. This can only be done by either an outstanding undead magician or by an incredible high-level soul container. Right, how did you get such a high-level soul container? These kinds of things are rarely seen. Zhao Mannion began to chatter endlessly. Inheritance. My family is poor, but we did inherit this thing. Mo Fan didn't explain too much. He just answered vaguely. You not being an undead magician is just too much of a waste. Zhao Mannion sighed, and didn't continue pursuing the subject. However, Zhao Mannion did realize a really big problem. He had always been the young master of an aristocratic family, yet right now, he was just a simple nothing compared to Mo Fan, who had suddenly gained riches. Just when he was about to enter the auction hall, Mo Fan wanted to take a look at the sumptuous mansions around here. Unfortunately, his line of sight was quickly occupied by an ugly face. This face looked like Mo Fan owed him 5 million IMB. Just a single glance made him feel uncomfortable. It's you, Humph. The ugly face coldly grunted. Who are you? Mo Fan asked. The ugly face immediately seethed with anger. This daddy is Bai Zhangfeng. Do you understand? Bai Zhangfeng, the young master of one of the 4 great aristocrat families of Shanghai. I am Bai Zhangfeng. Bai Zhangfeng's complexion turned increasingly ugly. During the rookie competition, Bai Zhangfeng wanted to hold an attitude like the Terminator, intending to tyrannically abuse Mo Fan and get rid of him, thus becoming the focal point of the entire school. Who knew that the second he was up against him, he'd be hit by a life-threatening thunderbolt. This placed Bai Zhangfeng in an exceedingly difficult situation, and even forced instructor Gu Han to chase him down. That day, Bai Zhangfeng had truly lost all his face. Furthermore, that scheming whore, Mu Nu Zhao from the Mu family. Losing is losing, yet she actually obtained the support of so many people by donating resources to cover their losses. In the past couple of months, Bai Zhangfeng had already been scolded by his seniors a lot. There'd occasionally be someone saying, look at the Mu family, their daughter's ideas are extensive. Yet you, Bai Zhangfeng, are a man who is the same as trash. The words Bai Zhangfeng's elders used on him had many different versions. The second he got home, he would be scolded. They decreased his living expenses dramatically, and made him lock himself in to cultivate every single day. All of this was caused by Mo Fan. However, this guy who caused him to live like Sun Tzu for the past few months didn't even remember who he was. Let me tell you, if it wasn't for you playing a trick back then, I'd be able to kill you with just the pinch of my fingers. Just wait until the day I enter the main campus. If I don't beat you up, then my name is no longer Bai Zhangfeng. Bai Zhangfeng was enraged by Mo Fan, pointing toward Mo Fan's nose as he snarled this out. This grudge was something Bai Zhangfeng would never let go. This semester, he was completely nameless due to what had happened at the beginning of the term. However, He would turn the tables around before too long. Whether it was Mu Nu Zhao, Zhao Mannion, Shen Tianshao, Luo Song, or even this Mo Fan who had caused him great pain, each one would be stepped on by him. He, Bai Zhangfeng, had entered the school with the attitude of the strongest person within his generation of the Bai family. Not only would he be superior to those common students, he would even be stronger than those disciples from other aristocratic families. Bai Zhangfeng's words had filled the inside of the auction hall. Mo Fan looked after the guy while feeling puzzled. After he waited for Bai Zhangfeng to walk a little further away, Mo Fan finally turned around and asked Zhao Mannion, "Just who is this Bai Zhangfeng?" "It's the guy who was put down by your thunderbolt during the beast battle competition. He is an intermediate magician, but he got beat by you in just a second," Zhao Mannion explained as he couldn't stop laughing. "Oh, it's him. I finished him off way too quickly back then. I didn't get a good look at his face," Mo Fan said. The Bai Zhangfeng who was walking up the stairs also heard this. His body began to stumble, he nearly fell down. "Shit, he is bullying me. Just you wait, just you freaking wait. The battles within Azure campus are simply little fights between children. Just wait until the main campus. Hee, it'll be hard to say who the champion will be then." Zhao Mannion was indeed very sincere. Not too long after the auction started, the spirit grade lightning seed came out. The people from Zhao family did not say much. They had this attitude that whatever the opponent would bid for this spirit grade lightning seed, the Zhao family would always outbid them. The spirit grade lightning seed went up over 2.8 million RMB, but it was still purchased by the Zhao family. Using a baseless reputation to exchange for a 2.8 million RMB valued spirit grade lightning seed was definitely worth it in Mo Fan's eyes. As for what the Zhao family was able to obtain from resolving the dangers this time was not something Mo Fan was able to calculate. Even the losses by this great aristocrat family were not something they could temporarily calculate. 2.8 million RMB. It has been successfully auctioned off to this Mr. I already introduced the spirit grade lightning seed at the beginning of the auction, however, I can't help but do it once more. This lightning seed was extracted from a heavenly mountain where the thunderclouds merge with the summit of the mountain at all times. It is called the Changjin. When you release lightning magic, the Changjin will generate a great destructive power through the surrounding air. The vibration caused will be even more effective than your normal lightning. We all know that common seeds are mediocre, spirit seeds are intellectual. Therefore, I hope that the spirit grade Changjin that was extracted from the faraway heavenly mountain and brought here will be able to find a good master. I apologize that I am a bit talkative today. This is because the person who extracted the Changjin was a good friend of mine. He died during the extraction of Changjin. It was a friend who went through life and death to finally bring it back to the city. The auctioneer seemed to be deeply moved as he said this to all the participants of the auction. The middle-aged man who won the bidding battle from Zhao family seemed to be very courteous. He smiled as he said toward the affectionate auctioneer, "Mr. Wang, don't worry. The Changjin will be given to an extremely outstanding youth. Youth. I like youths. They dare to charge and battle, not like us old people. We cannot go anywhere. Youths are good. They are suitable for the Changjin." The auctioneer had a good temperament. He immediately began to smile. That Mr. Wang didn't seem to be your average person. There was no one who dared to gossip about him. Changjin, Mo Fan really liked that name. Spirit grade lightning seeds all possessed intellects. They had the temperament and personality of a living creature, so they also received their own name. Changjin, that was a name of power. The lightning element was the magic that encompassed the greatest power within all of the classical elements. The name Changjin was extremely suitable. In the future, all of the lightning and fire magics would possess their own prefixes. His lightning would be called Changjin. Chapter End. Versatile Mage. Chapter 202 I'm Rich. There were many things appearing in this auction that Mo Fan had never even heard of in his life. Zhao Mannion explained some of them to Mo Fan. Many of these items were things Mo Fan was very interested in. For example, some of the magic tools with supplementary effects. Magic equipment and magic tools had definite differences. Magic equipment was able to link itself to the soul. Once activated, it could transform into a special piece of battle equipment. Magic tools, on the other hand, were mostly supplementary, granting nourishing effects but unable to be directly activated. For example, one of the items sold in the auction was called the Poison Fire Ring. This kind of ring was a magic tool. It added a poisonous effect to all of the caster's fire magic. Unfortunately, this kind of ring cost far more than a spirit-grade fire seed, and Mo Fan was unable to purchase it. The next item is something even more people will be interested in. It is a blue velvet sparrow's egg. After going through appraisal, it is confirmed that this egg has a 100% chance of hatching. Summoner magicians, you may bid your price. Oh, I almost forgot. This blue velvet sparrow possesses the Penglai Skylark bloodline. As long as you raise it to adulthood, its strength will be no weaker than that of a full-grown warrior-level magical beast. The blue velvet sparrow is enough to take one flying, and an incomparable mount for flight. Its lowest price is 70 million RMB, so everyone can start bidding now. The auctioneer's face looked focused as he said this. As soon as the blue velvet sparrow's egg came out, a disturbance went through the auction hall. Although the price started at 70 million, bidding came from everywhere. Mo Fan was almost scared by these rich people. In his previous world, 100 million RMB was a number people wouldn't even dare to think about. However, the blue velvet sparrow's egg was selling for 70 million plus. And that was the lowest price. You're also a summoner. Don't you have any plans to get yourself a young one to nurture? Zhao Mannion asked Mo Fan, who was sitting next to him. Do you think I look like a person who would be able to afford that? Mo Fan smiled bitterly. There were only two types of magicians that could manage beasts. One of them was telepathic magicians, and the other was summoning magicians. The intermediate magic for the summoning element was contract summoning. Contract summoning and dimensional summoning had two very large differences. Dimensional summoning summoned a wandering beast and put a soul imprint in them so they could fight for you. This kind of creature had a limited time it could stay around. Furthermore, you never knew when they would die within the summon plane, or if they might simply refuse to participate in battle. Contract summoning was the true core spell of summoning magicians. The summoner would be able to go out into the wild to find a magical beast to form a contract with. Once the contract was done, the magical beast would become the contracted beast of the magician, and 100% loyal, attending to its master at all times. Frankly speaking, dimensional summoning was only temporary. While the magical beast was out, it would continuously use mana. The longer it battled in the real world, the more mana it would consume. A contract summoning, however, was the true deal. The summoner would be signing a contract with an existence that already lived in this world. Once the contract was successful, the magical beast could be considered tamed, and would become a lifelong companion. Wasting your resources on your dimensional creature is really useless. The dimensional creature is not a long-term companion. However, the contracted beast is something you can spend as many resources as you want on, and it will also reciprocate that to you. I suggest that if you obtain some kind of resource for refining a beast, you'd better leave it for your own contract beast, Zhao Mannion advised. 70 million is not something I can afford. Bro, why would you want to buy a blue velvet sparrow? Magical beasts that can fly have always been extremely expensive, Zhao Mannion said. Alright. The summoning Stardust advancing to nebula level would require just a bit more time. Although having one more summoned beast would increase his combat prowess by several times, seeing the price of the blue velvet sparrow made Mo Fan feel like getting hold of a young beast would take him who knew how many years. These things were expensive. As of right now, Mo Fan was at the intermediate level, and all these things were only useful for intermediate magicians. However, once he reached the advanced level, just what kind of prices would these things go up to? Casually a few 100 million. No wonder why they said if you didn't have money, don't become a magician. It was so true. The next item being sold is one that cut the line. Don't be anxious everyone, this line cutting item will definitely be something you will need. The auctioneer waved his hand to indicate for the girl to bring the new treasure up to the stage. Look at this container. I believe everyone should already know what we're auctioning off this time. The auctioneer said with a slight smile. Soul essence. What level of soul essence? If it is the servant level, then it'd be too unsuitable for this place. The auctioneer purposely built suspense. He waited until everyone began talking before continuing. This is a warrior level soul essence. This came from a parasitic type magical beast. Everyone most likely knows that the more special the soul essence is, the higher the probability for it to become a nebula magical tool. Just like a stardust magic tool, the nebula magic tool is always in demand but short in supply. The most important material, the soul essence, is most likely something everyone here loves. We will begin the auction of the parasitic type warrior level soul essence, starting price 12 million. From the starting price, one could see there was no need to worry about this item not being auctioned off. Even something like the blue velvet sparrow egg could be sold for a lot of money. Furthermore, since it was for summoners, the bidding battles weren't too fierce, as the people needing it were quite limited. However, soul essence could be directly linked with a stardust magic tool or a nebula magic tool. Just which magician wouldn't require one? A warrior level soul essence was not as expensive as a blue velvet sparrow egg. However, the bidding contest was still just as fierce. The second they heard that this was an extremely rare parasitic type soul essence, the bid price began to climb. Soul essence is one of the best sellers. In the future, if you acquire more soul essences, you can contact the appraisal master from today on. They're from our Zhao family. He definitely won't swindle you, Zhao Mannion told Mo Fan. Mo Fan was shocked. This warrior level soul essence was worth at least 10 million. However, Mo Fan quickly realized the people in the audience were bidding far higher. This thing was indeed very rare. No wonder why it could directly cut into the line. Fortunately, the little loach pendant was able to collect soul remnants and soul essences. What if I just earn money by selling soul essences in the future? Speaking of which, Mo Fan's little loach pendant seemed to have some special abilities that he himself was not sure about. Otherwise, how could others kill numerous magical beasts yet be unable to collect a single soul essence, while he had already acquired two? When he had the opportunity, he needed to research this little loach pendant. In the end, the soul essence of the mother beast was sold for 29 million RMB. The real value of a special soul essence was roughly around 20 million. After its price had risen by nearly 10 million, it was clear that the demand far outstripped the supply. He's rich. He became rich in an instant. Chapter N. Versatile Mage. Chapter 203. The 28 million RMB man. In just an instant, he earned a profit of 28 million RMB. Mo Fan felt an unprecedented happiness. He had never seen this much money in his entire life. The person buying it was actually the Bai family. Ha ha ha. Zhao Mannion looked at the person who last made a bid and couldn't help but laugh. The person from the Bai family seemed to have already gotten the thing they wanted. They weren't interested in the last item being auctioned, so they rose together and left the auction hall. When Bai Zhangfeng and his fellow clansmen had walked outside the auction chamber, he swept a glance at Mo Fan and said, "A lot of the things here are things that you will never get in your entire lifetime. Do you think you're impressive with that little power? Just wait until I have a nebula magic tool. My cultivation will easily surpass yours." Yes, when the time comes, please be lenient, Mo Fan said while purposely acting as though he was afraid. Bai Zhangfeng strutted away in an unbelievably arrogant manner, while Zhao Mannion next to Mo Fan began to laugh like crazy. Only Zhao Mannion knew that the Bai family had directly put 29 million RMB into Mo Fan's pocket. Mo Fan even dared to sell a soul essence, which only meant that he most likely had even better things. Otherwise, who would actually want to sell something that could increase their own cultivation? This Bai Zhangfeng guy thought his family was so solid. Just wait until they entered the main campus and see who would surpass who. In Mo Fan's hand was indeed an even better cultivation tool. The little loach pendant had already absorbed the underground holy spring. Not even a warrior-level soul essence was capable of improving it. After Bai Zhangfeng left, Mo Fan continued to wait for a while to see if there was any magic equipment suitable for him. As he hoped, not too long afterwards, a magic shield appeared. A good set of magic armor had an incomparably high price. Thus, Mo Fan would rather have a good magic shield, so that in a crucial situation, he would be able to block a mortal wound. A departing nether shield appeared in the auction hall. Not only was it able to block an all-out attack from a warrior-level creature, but the surface of the shield was also able to turn into spikes and deal deadly piercing damage. Mo Fan bought this departing nether shield. The people who bid for it weren't many, but it was purchased by Mo Fan for 17 million in the end. The departing nether shield's price was even higher than the Blood Beast boots. After all, its defensive capabilities and ability to counterattack were much stronger than those of the Blood Beast boots. Naturally, Mo Fan also asked about it. His own Blood Beast boots could be sold for around 12 million. The things that Pearl Institute gave out were definitely not cheap goods. Do you want to buy any Deathstrike magic equipment? Zhao Mannion asked him. Deathstrike magic equipment was something all magicians loved, from primary to intermediate. In situations where attack methods were limited, Deathstrike magic equipment would often be the most important factor. Are there any good Deathstrike equipments for 10 million? Mo Fan asked. Let's use a warrior-level creature as an example. If you truly want to cause mortal damage to a warrior-level creature, then the Deathstrike equipment will always be at least 20 million or more, and those that come with additional effects are naturally even more expensive. Then I can't afford it. I'll leave some money to raise my little beast, Mo Fan said. Tusk, that makes sense. If you have money, you do need to raise some canaries. I'll introduce you to some good healthy girls. What I meant was my summoned beast. Mo Fan really admired how perverted Zhao Mannion was. Oh, I was thinking about something else. However, you can still introduce the healthy girls you mentioned. Hey. Zhao Mannion couldn't keep up with Mo Fan's way of thinking. Selling soul essence, buying magic equipment, he had about 12 million RMB remaining. Adding on to the 3.1 million that he originally had, Mo Fan happily realized that he still had 15.1 million remaining after purchasing the magic shield. With this money, he needed to move out from that godforsaken area. Mo Fan had endured that place for far too long. The so-called safety area that required you to take a bus and transfer to a subway to get to the city area was even more remote than Bo City. How could it possibly be suitable for a man like him, who was now worth over 10 million RMB? In the next semester, Zhao Mannion also said that he wanted to move out. In this kind of situation, Mo Fan also didn't want to be bored staying in the dorm. He could change to an even more independent area for cultivating, so he wouldn't risk exposing himself. The secrets he had were not small. If someone saw them, it could get pretty bad. After returning to the school, the end of the semester quickly approached. This semester did not have any examinations. Only in the next semester would there be an official examination for entering the main campus. This semester could be called the growing phase. If the students were cultivating elsewhere, that was fine. If they wanted to take classes, that was also fine. It would even be fine if they didn't touch the gates of the school for the entire semester. The only examination would be for entering the main campus. To most magicians, the Azure campus and main campus were very different. The real Pearl Institute was the main campus. The resources there were abundant, while the competition was equally frightening. If you were able to distinguish yourself there, then you would be known throughout Shanghai, or even become an influential figure in the whole country. Entering the main campus was definitely the most important thing for all students. Mo Fan could clearly see that the reason Zhao Mannion wanted to move out was not because he wanted to bring girls home, but to put more effort into cultivating. After the matter of the arena, he had received a lot of resources from his family. He had no reason to continue loitering about. As for Mo Fan, not only was he confidently planning on entering the main campus, the most important thing was the hunter competition that was happening in less than 2 years. The lightning and fire nebulae couldn't stay at just the first level. He had to quickly level them to the second. Mo Fan couldn't forget the domineering Fiery Fist, 9 palace spell that Tang Yu had used. That was the 3rd level of Fiery Fist, and with the spirit grade Fire Seed, its might would definitely destroy any opponent. The lightning element was the same, it had to increase as well. If it stayed at that level, that was definitely not a good thing. Even the shadow element was the same, he had to learn how to draw its Star Atlas. The Star Atlas books were limited. His summoning element hadn't reached the intermediate level either, so he had to put effort into cultivating that as well. There were so many things to level up, Mo Fan felt that there was no time left for him to use. Another thing was, Mo Fan had already caught a whiff of the gunpowder attitude that pervaded the entire school. It was said that the main campus examination was a straight magic war. Since Mo Fan had essentially offended everyone in school, when that day came, if he didn't have the ability to suppress others, he would be stepped on like a dog by those people in just minutes. The people who hated him were definitely not limited to just by Zhang Feng. Someone said that they had even created an anti-Mo Fan society. That society was specifically created to attack the public enemy of the school, Mo Fan. The strength that Mo Fan had displayed back then did indeed appear monstrous to a lot of the primary level students. This society's strength had already grown greatly. They were only waiting to crusade against the monster and uphold justice. Mo Fan had never once regretted stealing other people's resources. If he hadn't stolen them away back then, how would he have been able to fight against the Mother Beast? If he didn't kill the Mother Beast, then where would he have earned enough to gain the Spirit Grade Lightning Seed and the departing Nether Shield? This was called, the strong becoming even stronger, effect. Those dregs really thought they would be able to contend against him if they bitterly cultivated for a year. When the time came, they would learn that Daddy Mo would still be their daddy. Chapter End. Versatile Mage. Chapter 204 Co-renting. Once the semester ended, Mo Fan began looking for a new place to live. He could afford it now, and spending some money to find a good apartment was not a problem. In fact, Mo Fan was already interested in the Golden Origin apartments to the west of Azure campus. These apartments were relatively close to the school. Behind them was an artificial lake park. Although the lake wasn't big, its surroundings were beautiful. Mo Fan walked up to the 12th floor of the building and knocked on the door of the apartment he wanted to rent. "You're here, are you the guy who called me just now?" The landlord auntie appeared to be very enthusiastic and friendly as she said this. "Yes, I saw that you were renting out this place on the internet," Mo Fan replied. The landlord auntie sized Mo Fan up and said, "Oh, come in first." Mo Fan nodded. Just as he was about to enter the room, 2 girls came out of the elevator. One of them was wearing a long, snow-white summer dress with a landscape painting on the front. She looked like a drifting cloud as she floated over, glancing at the room numbers. The girl next to her appeared very petite. What shocked Mo Fan most was that her petite body possessed a rather striking moon that could be seen at a glance. Even though she was wearing loose clothes, it wasn't enough to conceal her spring-like radiance. "Excuse me, oh, it's you." Just when the girl was about to ask the auntie a question, she happened to see Mo Fan at the entrance. Her face revealed an astonished expression. Hee, how coincidental. Mo Fan was also surprised to actually meet an acquaintance here. The girl in the white dress wasn't some random person. She was Nu Nuzhao, the one who had displayed ferocious strength during the rookie competition at the very beginning of the year. In this campus filled with youthful hormones, Mo Fan believed that the greatest topic among all the boys at night was definitely this girl. When they mentioned girls, they would inevitably mention the beautiful and moral girl of the dreams, Mu Nujiao. The societies Mu Nujiao joined would always be completely packed. Any community event she participated in would definitely attract a crowd of onlookers. There was nothing anyone could do. Mu Nujiao's public image was extremely good. If it hadn't been for Zhao Mannion, who had seen through it at first glance, Mo Fan might have believed it too. Are you also here to take a look at the room? Mo Fan asked. Mu Nujiao nodded lightly without saying anything more. You guys know each other, eh? You are really familiar. Oh, you are that great monster. The petite girl with large breasts suddenly yelled out in fluster. Mo Fan was speechless. Rumors of him being a great monster had really spread far. To scare a girl like that? Wait, why did she look more excited than scared? Encountering Mu Nujiao here wasn't really that strange. The school had a regulation that new students had to live on campus for a year. This was strictly enforced during the first half of the semester. However, by the next semester, the students who had some ability would definitely choose to live somewhere close to school. Those who cultivated needed their own space. The Golden Origin apartments were quite expensive. Most students used their money on cultivation, so not many wanted to live in such luxurious places, unless they were wealthy, like Mu Nujiao. The apartment block was large and beautifully decorated, with a compound-like architecture. The first floor had a living area with a thick rug, and the entrance hall led straight to a spacious balcony. The balcony had a parasol, recliners, a pond, and bookshelves. The living area was luxuriously furnished. The design was moon-shaped, with a massive television mounted on the wall and half-bed-style couches beneath it. On the opposite side was a Western-style kitchen and a small bar. For Mo Fan, who had grown up in poverty, a living room only needed a couch and a television. Anything else was unnecessary. But this place had a bar and a Western kitchen. It completely shattered his idea of what a home looked like. Although Mo Fan hadn't seen the rooms yet, the luxury of the building made him sigh. No wonder it was so expensive. Fortunately, the current him could actually afford it. The rooms are all upstairs. Do you want to take a look? The auntie asked. I don't need to see them anymore. I'll take it, Mo Fan said casually. Even the living room had been decorated so exquisitely, there was no point in checking the second floor. The bedrooms were definitely not shabby either. What about the two ladies then? The landlord auntie asked as she turned to Mu Nujiao. I really like it. Sister Mu, let's pick this. The petite, energetic girl said happily. The truth was, she and Mu Nujiao had already checked many other apartments, but none of them met their standards. Both girls came from wealthy families. What might seem delicately renovated to others appeared crude and simple to them, no different from dormitories. This apartment, however, clearly showed that someone had invested a lot of money and taste into decorating it. It wasn't much different from the luxury places they stayed in when traveling. Since you are all very satisfied with this place, why don't you co-rent? To be honest, the rent here is very expensive, and not many people would rent it alone. A couple thousand RMB per month is no laughing matter, the landlord auntie said. Mu Nujiao frowned slightly. She didn't like the idea of co-renting. No matter how expensive it was, she could handle it herself. All right, I've never co-rented before, but I've read a lot of novels where people do it in university. It seems interesting, the petite girl said with delight. The landlord auntie smiled and hurriedly continued. This place has a total of 4 rooms, 2 on the south side and 2 on the north side. They're well separated. Since you already know each other, co-renting would be very suitable. Little rabbit, don't spout nonsense. Landlord auntie, we aren't actually that familiar with him, Mu Nujiao said firmly. Sister Mu, don't worry. The rooms are completely separate, and only the first floor is common. My grandfather is really mean. He said he'd restrict my spending once I entered university. If we don't share the cost, it'll be too expensive. With one more person, it's great. If not, we could even have him pay half, the White Rabbit girl said cheerfully. Hey, I never said I'd be paying half. Mo Fan immediately protested. Co-renting sounded pretty good, and Mo Fan definitely wouldn't reject it. But the matter of money had to be clear first. You rich people, don't try to cheat the poor guy. Other people would even offer to pay the entire rent just to co-rent with Sister Mew. We're only asking you to pay half so you can enjoy living with two beauties. That kind of treatment would make you smile in your dreams. Alright, let's just do that. I want the room by the lake. I'll have my people bring my things over, the White Rabbit girl said excitedly. Your people? Once Mo Fan heard that, he started to feel uneasy. Chapter N. Versatile Mage. Chapter 205 Battle against the Backup Boys. The White Rabbit girl cheerfully went off to select her room. As a sister, Mew Nujiao was very close with her, so she quickly followed after her. It was clear Mew Nujiao didn't want to co-rent with a guy. You could tell her thoughts from her knitted eyebrows. Mo Fan didn't mind at all. Being able to see two beautiful girls jumping around in his surroundings while cultivating was definitely a pleasurable matter. Mew Nujiao was definitely very attractive, and her figure was undeniably fine. Buildings and buildings of men fantasized about her. Now, he would be able to live together with her. This was just living high on the clouds. What was the saying again? A single man enters university, graduates as a family of three. It seemed like he was not far away from that kind of lifestyle. Mo Fan did not bicker about paying half of the rent. He originally only wanted 2 rooms, one for himself and one for Xinxia. Xinxia was about to enter her holidays, and he couldn't let her remain in school or go back to the safety placement room. It had been a while since he met her, so it would be a good time for him to talk love, talk about emotions again. He didn't have to worry about his father. He had wanted to return to Bo City for a while. According to Xinxia, he might have gotten himself a woman, so he would remain there for a longer period of time. Mo Jiaxing had been living as a bachelor for a long time. It was finally time for spring to return to him. Thus, Mo Fan transferred $1 million to him so he could casually squander money. Tusk, transferring $1 million to his father's card. Having money was extremely comfortable. I Tutu, Mew Nujiao called out to the bouncing White Rabbit girl a bit angrily. I Tutu obediently walked back, looking as though she had done something bad. Her eyes, however, looked very sharp. Sister Mew, I know I was wrong. I know you don't want to live with outsiders. However, aren't you curious about what kind of method he used to escape from your forest of Kun back then? Additionally, don't you think this guy has many hidden secrets? I Tutu wasn't stupid at all. She immediately pointed this out. I Tutu did indeed mention all of the thoughts Mew Nujiao had. Mew Nujiao was an existence invincible amongst her peers. She had never imagined that she would be defeated by a common-born magician at the rookie competition. Additionally, Mew Nujiao had also heard about the gymnasium incident. The person who really killed the mother beast had to be Mo Fan. If you wanted Mew Nujiao to believe that a person who could single-handedly kill a warrior-level creature had no secrets, it was definitely impossible. Thus, Mew Nujiao had always been very curious about just what Mo Fan was hiding. Sister Mew, what needs to be disliked can be disliked. What you need to scold can be scolded. However, his strength is definitely at the top of the school. He is far more interesting and possesses more potential than those people who come from influential families and brag about being influential or strong. Co-renting with him now is an opportunity. Get familiar with him. There's a possibility he'll join the Mew family because he'll admire you. Your Mew family is currently lacking talented people. Instead of wasting so much money on those shady henchmen of other families to have them join your family, you might as well subdue this great monster. I heard Dean Xiao accidentally say that this great monster's prospects are unlimited. I Tutu said firmly. Mew Nujiao immediately sank into deep contemplation. A person that even Dean Seo recognized to a certain extent. Could it be that this great monster really did conceal even more power? For the Mu family, sister, can make an effort to endure it. Furthermore, I don't think the great monster is a bad person, or else he wouldn't have stepped up for the incident in the gymnasium. Since you focus a lot on your own cultivation, you may not know things in school. I heard from a lot of girls that the great monster personally saved them. I-Tutu continued. Mu Nujiao was originally firm on opposing this boring co-renting. After hearing what I-Tutu said, she began to waver. She was very curious about how Mo Fan had defeated her. She was also curious whether he was the person who actually saved all the people in the gymnasium. What made her even more curious was what this great monster was hiding. Additionally, with what I-Tutu had said about the co-renting, the possibility of attracting him into the Mu family was true. Mu Nujiao began to waver. I-Tutu seemed to know how to come to an agreement with Mu Nujiao. As long as there was some hesitation, she would carry it out. That way, Mu Nujiao would have to give a rather difficult reply. All right, however, he seems to be very close with the person from Zhao family. Thus, we need to be careful, Mu Nujiao said. Don't worry. Mo Fan didn't know that the two ladies were already plotting how to unveil his secrets. He paid the rent for the last half of the month in one shot, and then he laid down in the first-floor living room to enjoy himself. The couch was very soft. It felt as though his entire being would sink into it. It could be that Mu Nujiao had no interest in this kind of stuff since she was a very wealthy person. To Mo Fan, who was at the very rock bottom, even having to sell his house to live in as luxurious a place as this could only be described as comfortable. Furthermore, adding in Xinxia, then this place would have a total of 3 girls. This was simply living the life of an immortal. He laid there comfortably, watched some TV, browsed the internet, and drank some wine. His afternoon was incredibly satisfying. He had painstakingly cultivated for such a long time. He hadn't had a chance to loosen up and take it easy like this. Outside of the elevator, 2 delicate and handsome men carrying a large bunny were walking in. The delicate man looked very polite, smiling courteously. Even when he was doing a job like moving, he still had to display his best trait in the best manner possible. You can put the things in the living room, I-Tutu said. All right. Oh, there's actually someone who got here before us. The man wearing glasses with a scholarly smile took a glance at Mo Fan. In his eyes flashed a trace of imperceptible hostility. Mo Fan had fallen asleep on the couch. He didn't care about the other people walking in. He was in a daze when he was woken up by someone. He suddenly discovered a gigantic white rabbit plushie on his couch, and he almost jumped up. What is this? Mo Fan rubbed his eyes. Moving. Half of this couch will have my bunny on it. I-Tutu said, a little arrogantly. After saying this, I-Tutu instructed the other 2, backup boys, to leave. The man wearing glasses with the scholarly smile swept a glance at Mo Fan and quickly ripped off the fake, harmless face as he said, Brother, why are you still laying there? Didn't you hear I-Tutu tell us to leave? Mo Fan glanced at the glasses man and replied, Dude, I live here. The scholarly glasses man and the other vanilla man immediately froze, eyes wide. The 2 of them quickly scoffed. Their bodies immediately let out an aura of disbelief. It seemed like they hadn't woken up from a dream. Living together with I-Tutu, who didn't know I-Tutu was always with Mu Nujiao. Living with I-Tutu was equal to living together with Mu Nujiao. Stop daydreaming, hurry up and get lost. The vanilla man looked very refined, yet the things he said were not refined at all. Mo Fan immediately creased his brow. Your daddy, I'm laying here resting comfortably. How come there are 2 dog-looking things coming at me trying to berate me? The ones who should get lost are you guys. This is my house. Mo Fan stood up, his gaze on the 2 guys who were deliberately looking for a fight. I-Tutu saw the 2 sides being hostile to one another, and she started to get excited. With a devious expression, she ran to the side and grabbed some snacks to eat. Her eyes flashed with a certain killing intent as she looked at Mo Fan and the two backup boys, having no intention of resolving the misunderstanding at all. Chapter end. Please guys like, comment, share, and subscribe.